Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cliff Notes podcast, where we ask someone and find the way. Today we're joined by Kirin. Hello there, Kirin.
Hi.
Hi. And we hear you've been up to some exciting things, being able to play and work with these new robots. So what have you been doing with them?
Well, the robots we're using are Obelix robots, and we're using them for this WER competition where kids from all around the world can compete, and then if they're the highest scoring in their category, go to the finals.
That sounds exciting. How did you get started doing this?
It was through Discovery STEM that they start teaching it in their sessions, and they thought it might be something that I'd like, so I joined and just really enjoyed it.
And so you've been sort of going along there regularly, and then that turned into joining a competition. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, how do the robots and things work? Do you build them or program them, or what do you have to do?
Well, it's both really. So you get this kit, this Obelix kit, there's different robots that you can use. It's best if you start on the most basic. Then they give you building instructions to build the robot, and then you have to code it using there's two different kinds of program you can use. One called VJC, which is a block code, and another one which is a simplified version of C. And you code your robot to complete tasks. So you get given an arena mat and some tasks. And in the competition, your robot has to complete as many tasks as possible in a certain amount of time. And each task gives you different amounts of points depending on the difficulty.
Cool, that sounds exciting. And so which parts do you like to do for this?
I mainly like coding, but I enjoy building as well.
Cool. And which way have you been programming?
Well, for the competition so far, I've been programming with the blocks, but more recently I've started learning how to program using C.
Wow, that's advanced stuff. So what we do programming at work, but C is something that I know about, but I don't use that at work. So that's a good language to learn, because lots of other languages are based around that when you're building things in the future. So that sounds cool. And what sort of tasks, or what are you trying to do with these robots? What's the aim of the game?
Well, each year there's a different theme. We haven't got the tasks for this year's competition yet, but this year's theme is artificial intelligence. Last year's was sort of robots in factories. So the tasks were different things that robots might be doing. One was they had to go up to this model and pick up these things which they called e-waste and bring them back to the starting area, and just complete different tasks which they think that robots might be in the future doing around factories.
Do you write the programs and then you let them go, or do you move the robots, or what happens, just to give people an idea if they haven't sort of seen these in real life?
So you write the programs on a laptop or computer, and then you can download it via a cable onto the robot, and then the robot's got its own interface. So on the interface you can select which program you want to run, and then you run the code, and hopefully it'll work.
And how do you find that? Does your code mostly work, or do you have to keep practicing?
There's a lot of debugging. It hardly ever works first time, but it's quite rewarding when it does work.
So I understand you have to do these in a time limit when you're at the competition. Does that get sort of stressful when you've got to work on it so fast?
Yeah, it does, because you've got to change the contraptions on your robot, because they also give you lots of extra pieces which you need to complete the tasks, like an arm to push or pull something or pick stuff up, and you have to change them on your robot and load your code. So yeah, it can get really stressful to try and complete them in the time limit.
And do you do this on your own, or is it part of a team when you're competing?
It's done in teams of 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. And you're talking and sort of sharing the task together, are you?
Yeah.
So do you have to to practice with them beforehand, so that you can think who wants to go first and who can work on which parts to make it quick.
Yeah, so we all go to the same session and we work together trying to prepare tasks before the competition.
And then, so how was it when you were competing? What happened?
The first day didn't go very well. We're not quite sure why. I think got the problem to do with the motors or something. But so we only got one task done. We got 80 points for that task though, which isn't too bad. And then on the second day we got a few done, and we managed to fix the problem.
Did you find out what it was?
I think one of the motors got jammed.
Can you swap out for other parts? Try and guess what's gone wrong.
Yeah, I think so, because you get this whole kit, as I said earlier, which full of pieces, and you can swap them out. And
so you did really well in the competition, and then what happened next? You got invited to go to China for the world competition.
Yeah.
And was that a bit exciting? You didn't know whether you were going to go or whether you could go, or was it a bit strange to be invited to another country to compete?
Yeah, it definitely was, especially because I've never even been on a plane before.
So was that exciting too?
Yeah, definitely.
And so how was the trip to China? Did you get to meet all different people and learn different things from them too?
Yeah, we met people from all around the world, especially places like Mexico and Croatia. We saw people from.
And so, what were your best bits of that trip?
The contest was very exciting, nerve-wracking as well, but very exciting. And also talking to the other kids in breaks and stuff. And then afterwards, we went on a tour around Shanghai for a few days afterwards, and just seeing stuff like the art museum and the Pearl Tower was all very exciting as well.
So you got to bring back a few stories and photographs and things.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool. Well, yeah, that's great. Listening to this. So, what are you going to do next? Now you're back from China and this round of competitions is finished. Are you still going to be working more with these robots, or have you got some new plans?
Well, I think this year some of the UK kids. Well, last year the Chinese kids got invited to the UK, but this year I think we've been invited to either Turkey or Mexico to compete out there in the contest.
Wow!
So yeah,
celebrity world traveler robot builders. Has it felt a bit like being a celebrity? Because I've seen how much you've been invited to be on the news and in the papers and different things.
A bit, yeah.
And so, are you looking forward to any new bits, or you've got a wish for any sort of new add-ons or abilities for your robots for this year?
Well, Obelix does lots of different kits. So at home we've got a different kit called the Krypton 8, which is a much better one than the one we're using for the old competition. So we're hoping to use a more advanced kit in the competition, next competition, and make code instead of doing the block code last time. Try and actually use C code.
Okay, and what makes this one better?
The new robot.
Yeah.
Because there's more pieces and has extra sensors. Like the old one just had grayscale sensors, but which lets it detect black and white lines. But this new one has stuff like touch sensors, a camera. I'm not sure what that would be used for, but it has stuff like touch sensors, motion sensors, color sensors. It's just a lot more advanced.
Wow! So you can really get in and decide what to do. It's not just sort of walk forward, walk left, walk right. It's really looking around its environment and being a robot on its own.
Yeah, if you can code it to do that.
No, that's cool. And just to give people an idea of, do you know how easy is it to get into doing this? If other kids wanted to join in.
Yeah, it's quite easy. If you go to one of the Discovery STEM sessions, then you'll get your robot and join a team, and then because there's a lot more kids doing it this year than last year, you can hopefully get through to the competition and compete.
And is this something you think you'll keep going with? You're interested in this sort of this route, either with robotics or programming or working with machines. when you get bigger and leave school.
Definitely.
Thanks very much for joining us today. I just wondered if you'd like to leave us with a last thought of how you found working with the robots, or what you'd like to tell other people who want to get into these STEM programs.
Yeah, my advice is just have fun doing it. It's not all about the competition. It's about learning how to work with the robots as well.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Kirin. It's been great talking to you, and I'm really excited about the future for all these kids getting into STEM programs and learning great things with these robots.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Cliff Notes podcast. I love to hear feedback, and if you'd like to get in contact with the guest or myself, you can message me on Twitter at Tristan Bailey, or on holdingbay.co.uk/podcast. As always, please like, share and subscribe to this show on iTunes, and see you next time, where we can see how people are using digital technologies to move manufacturing forward.